Thank you, Linda.
Thank you. And Mr. Woodard, if you would please read the authorization for us to meet electronically.
Happy to. Ms. Mines, pursuant to Executive Order number 16 as extended by Executive Order number 34, this meeting of the Chattanooga-Hamilton County Hospital Authority doing business as Erlanger Health System Board of Trustees is being conducted via electronic means in an effort to protect the health, safety, and welfare of Tennesseans and the public generally in light of the COVID-19 outbreak. Any bylaws, orders, rules, or resolutions of the board, to the extent inconsistent with Executive Orders number 16 and 34, are hereby temporarily suspended and held in abeyance as authorized by those executive orders. Additionally, this meeting is being held for the purpose of conducting the essential business of the board and will be available electronically. Notice of such was publicly disseminated and posted in accordance with TCA Section 8-44-101 at SEC, Article 1, Section 19 of the Tennessee Constitution and the board's processes specifically. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Woodard. If you will look over the agenda which was provided for you for tonight's meeting, you will notice that we have a full schedule of items that we need to discuss. And we will begin with a review of the minutes from our May 14th, 2020 meeting and May 26th, 2020 meeting. I will need to take those separately. Hopefully you have had time to review the minutes, and I will entertain a motion for approval of the May 14th amendments, or if corrections are necessary, those corrections to be offered at this point. May 14, 2020.
Move approval.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Germ and Judge Webb. All those in favor, well, since we can't see everyone simultaneously of the trustees, if there is anyone in opposition, please indicate by saying no. I think that bark was an approval, and therefore the minutes for May 14, 2020 are approved. Let's move on to the minutes from the May 26, 2020 meeting. Do I have a motion for approval?
Move to approve. Steve Engel.
Thank you. And do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Anyone in opposition, please indicate by saying no. Hearing none, there is an approval, and those minutes will be filed. Next item on our agenda, committee and subcommittee reports. Mr. Coleman, Budget and Finance Committee, have you met since our last meeting 2 weeks ago?
We were scheduled to meet 5/25, but that was a holiday. And so we have rescheduled that meeting for June 1st, which is next Monday, to do a preliminary budget review. And then I suspect we'll also meet again on June 8th to finalize our budget. So we'll have something ready to bring to the board for the June meeting.
Thank you so much for that. Planning Committee, Dr. Engel?
No, we have not met.
Thank you. Audit and Compliance, Judge Webb?
Yes, we've met.
Okay, anything that you need to report at this point?
No, we have a few items that we'll be bringing in front of the full board at a later date.
Thank you very much. Ms. Boynton, Legal Committee?
We did not meet.
Okay. Mr. Germ? Management
No report.
Evaluation?
No report.
No report. Thank you. And the Executive Committee of the board has met, and we will be forthcoming with some information regarding that in process. So thank you. Is there any unfinished business that needs to come before this Board of Trustees? Well then, in light of that, before we move on to new business, I was apprised only this afternoon with an item that I'm going to add to the agenda. We are joined on this meeting by Laura Bible from the Medical Auxiliary Committee, and I am very excited for her to share with you a recent action of the auxiliary. And Laura, I know you're here somewhere. If you would share with us a letter that you would like for us to be aware of. Do we have Laura with us?
Yeah,
There you are.
Right, great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for allowing me to read this evening. This was written, well, let me just read. May 27th, 2020. Dear Erlanger Board of Trustees, we are Erlanger Auxiliary and fully support and stand behind Dr. Will Jackson and his leadership. We are a 14.
I'm sorry. Can we ask everyone to mute if you are not talking right now? I apologize, but it's very difficult to hear. I think other people are having that problem. And then Laura, I don't know if you're at a place where you have good internet, if you might want to turn your camera off, we can hear you louder. But everyone else should mute, please. That's not talking right now. Thank you.
I will try.
Of course, Kitty gave me control so I can actually mute people too, by the way.
All right. Dear Erlanger Board of Trustees, we are the Erlanger Auxiliary and we fully support and stand behind Dr. Will Jackson and his leadership team. We are a 14-member board of volunteers who share all of our time and talents with Erlanger in this community that we love. We are retired teachers, nurses, business owners, pharmacists, corporate executives, and community leaders. We cuddle premature babies in the NICU. We take our pet therapy dogs to visit patients of all ages. We greet visitors at the information desk. We operate the gift shop. We sit with dying patients as part of our No One Dies Alone program. We hand out refreshments to parents staying with their sick children and with injured children, and do so much more. We do this because we love Erlanger and this community. Many of us were born at Erlanger. Our children were born at Erlanger. Our grandchildren were born at Erlanger. We know Erlanger well, and we represent nearly 800 Erlanger volunteers who collectively serve more than 100,000 hours each year. Many of us had volunteered at Erlanger for more than 20 years. We have been through many administrations. We can say without hesitation, we have confidence in Dr. Jackson to effectively lead this essential health system. We have been through wars and recessions, but have never experienced anything like what our world is now facing. Dr. Jackson is smart, dedicated, compassionate, and always puts the overall needs of the health system in this community first. We have witnessed and benefited from his integrity, expertise, respect, and kindness. He leads staff with decisiveness and compassion. He is supportive, encouraging, and a true servant leader. We are thankful for the Erlanger health system and for the leadership of Dr. Jackson, the leadership team, the Board of Trustees, and especially during these unimaginable times. Respectfully yours, and it is signed by all 14 of our board members. So thank you.
I have unmuted myself so that I can say so honestly, thank you very much for bringing that on board. It would have been on the agenda, but I only learned of the letter today and thought that it would be something that you would very much be interested in hearing. Laura, thank you, and thank you everyone who serves with such compassion on that board. I'm not certain what Erlanger would be without our volunteers. You all know us so well and know the leadership. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll leave now. Good evening.
Good evening. Under new business board members, you will notice that the first is board committee assignments, and we have only one set of assignments to make this evening. As you are probably well aware, Mr. Connor joined our board in the midst of all the things that are going on now, and formal committee assignments had not been made. Tonight, I bring before the board his appointment to two of our most critical committees, and in addition to that, with the understanding that an additional board assignment may be made soon, but we want to be able to get him to work as soon as possible so that we benefit from his expertise. Mr. Connor has agreed to serve on the Budget and Finance Committee and on Audit and Compliance. And since board committee assignments do require the approval and action of the Board of Trustees, I would ask for you to offer a motion in support of his service on those two committees, a second, and then we will call for a vote. So do I have a motion to approve Mr. Connor's
I
assignment?
will move that.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second, this is Vicky.
Vicki, thank you. And then if there is any of the trustees who are in opposition, will you so indicate by no? Hearing none, Mr. Connor, welcome you to the Budget and Finance Committee, the Audit and Compliance Committee, and any additional future assignment that you may be willing to take as we come back to you for another committee appointment. Thank you for joining us.
Looking forward to it.
Thank you so much. You'll notice, trustees, that the next item on our new business regards a proposed letter of support, and I'm going to beg for your indulgence for just a minute because I'd like to make a statement. You'll notice that the next item is the proposed letter of support from the Hospital Authority's Board of Trustees regarding support for Dr. Jackson, the management team, the medical staff, including our physicians, our nurses, and all associates that help to manage and operate our hospital. It's fortuitous that this item was on our agenda, and it follows the special presentation tonight from Laura Bible, the letter of support that was authored and signed by every member, and an earlier letter of support from Dr. Bolton and the Medical Executive Committee. As chair, I thank both of those groups for their quick response in support of the decisions and actions that have been necessary during this most difficult time in Erlanger Health System's life. Each of you have been provided a draft of a possible board letter of support. It is unfortunate that we as the Board of Trustees must respond to unfounded attack on the system's leadership, on Dr. Jackson, on the board, and on our medical personnel. Before we begin the deliberations, as chairman, I personally want to thank Dr. Jackson for his leadership and every member of our medical team who have worked tirelessly to respond to the COVID-19 threat while simultaneously caring for all of our other patients. I also want to thank you, trustees. The suggestion that the board is not engaged in governance is countered by the hours each of you spend weekly, most of you in the double digits each week, as we work together as a team to provide oversight. I thank each of you for your leadership and participation, not only on the board committees, but as active members of this full board, as evidenced by our willingness to move to 2 board meetings per month. And now, having said that, the floor is open for discussion regarding our response to the recently published comments challenging Erlanger Health System.
Madam Chairman, John Chairman, if I may make a couple of suggestions.
Yes, sir.
At the end of the first paragraph, I'd like to see us add a sentence that says, "We believe that Dr. Jackson has the credentials and ability to guide Erlanger presently and in the future."
Thank you, Mr. Jerm, for that correction or addition to the proposed letter. May I ask Mr. Woodard, are you or Mrs. Quinn recording those suggestions? Thank you. I see the nod. Other comments from
Madam Chairman, I have one more.
Yes, sir.
I have one more. In the following that paragraph and before the last paragraph, I'd like to insert, while some are unhappy with decisions that were brought forth in the Chattanooga.com article of May the 28th, 2020, these decisions were made with Erlanger being a level 1 trauma center and maintaining a leading stroke center.
Comments, conversation, board members?
I would agree with that. I think it's important to make a strong reference to what brought this all about. I think those are great comments. But I do think somewhere in the letter we need to have some reference to, again, what would initiate this whole letter to begin with.
Madam Chairman, Bruce Shack here. I know I'm not a member of the board, but as the Dean of the College of Medicine, I've worked very closely with Will Jackson and his team for the last 3.5 years when he was the chief medical officer, now the chief executive officer. And I have had a extremely favorable relationship as he is dedicated to the continuing role of Erlanger as an educational hospital. We have a huge number of learners here of all stripes, and Will has been very supportive. He's been very supportive of my efforts to grow that learning ability, or that learning experience. And so he has my complete support, and he knows that. I've told him that. So, I don't have any say so here, really.
Thank you for offering that up.
You're welcome.
Other
Madam
comments?
Chair, if I can make one more comment.
Yes, sir.
A little bit of sidetrack, but I think I've got a unique perspective. I'm a member of the medical staff and on the MEC and on the board. And I've worked with Dr. Jackson closely, as of all the officers. And I've seen him struggle with decisions. Our group we don't always agree. We go back and forth, but we have one common goal, and that's to quality and safety of patient care at Erlanger. I've never seen him waver from that. And to see something like him up in the paper last week was very disappointing. Erlanger is a community hospital, and I think the community needs to be in lockstep, is one of Dr. Jackson's favorite words, but the hospital also. And we need more positive information going out to our community as far as the hospital goes. But like I said, I've seen him at the board level. I've seen him working with him and the medical executive committee. We meet every week for 4 years. I think I know him pretty well. We don't always agree, but we all have one common goal. I've seen Will struggle with difficult decisions that he's had to make, decisions I wouldn't want to make, but he makes the decisions I think generally are in the right intention for Erlanger Hospital.
Thank you, Dr. Bolden. I think that's critical to the community's understanding to hear from you as chairman of our medical executive committee. And thank you again for the letter that you and the other officers publicized. That I think that support for Dr. Jackson, support for everyone who works at Erlanger was critical. Other comments?
This is Sheila. I totally agree with really the thanks and the appreciation that we as trustees have for every single person at Erlanger during this time. I really want to make sure that's accentuated in the letter. I totally agree that the community does not understand what the trustees do and are not involved in, and I feel that was unfairly represented in some of the comments that have happened. So I appreciate that we're going to be lifting that up in this letter. But I think first and foremost, what Erlanger, the leadership team, and everybody has had to go through during this time is just unfathomable for any of us, unprecedented, everybody likes to say. And so just personally, I would just like to say, as someone who had a very good friend of mine died at Erlanger during this COVID time, I just want to say thank you to each and every person that is, on the front line, including Dr. Jackson, the whole C-level team, and everybody for what you've done.
And I echo that. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Vice Chair.
Linda, this is Gerald. I just want to say something quickly. Once again, I just want to put out there my very strong support for Dr. Jackson and what he's done at Erlanger up to this point. Will's been put into a position where he's had to make some very difficult decisions. And I believe he made some very difficult decisions early on that have helped Erlanger be in the position that it is right now. None of us wanted to make the tough decisions that needed to be made, but as a leader, he stepped up and made those decisions. And not only for Will, but for a lot of the doctors, physicians, the nurses at Erlanger, the leadership at Erlanger, we're going through a very difficult time. And I think it's very easy for people to want to look in at every decision that is being made and be a Monday morning quarterback and say what should have, could have, and maybe could have happened. But we have doctors who are coming in every day And not only are they putting their own health at risk, but they're also putting, their family and their children's health at risk when they go home every day. And they do it because of the mission of Erlanger, and they do it because they're good physicians, they're good doctors. Will is there every single day. Other doctors are there, Dr. Burns, other doctors, Dr. Bolton, all of our doctors are there, and they're doing the best that they can do every single day. The article was very disappointing to me at a time where the public has to have confidence in what we are doing. And in the mission of Erlanger, to read an article like that was very disappointing to me. I just want Will to know he has my 100% support in the decisions that he's making and what he's doing at Erlanger.
Thank you, Judge Webb. And I have to add to that, to read such an attack against the hospital, its leadership, our incredible medical staff, from the doctors to the CNAs to everyone who's out there on the line, I found personally and professionally distasteful. And I abhor that sort of attempt to sensationalize what we as a hospital are doing at a most critical time in our community's history. Other comments?
Madam Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I would just say that, first of all, the addendums to the letter that John proposed sound good to me, reasonable. And I also would want, and I appreciate Jim Bolton picking up on behalf of the medical staff, because he's certainly there with boots on the ground every day, and has been for years, as he pointed out, and it really understands what's going on. I also would just want to say that the thing that really bothered me was to question the energy, enthusiasm, intellect, and effort that this board has applied to being on the board of Erlanger and to try to make it better. This is a tremendous group of people. I'm speaking of all of you on the board. And I've been both appreciative and impressed with your effort, and really appreciate the opportunity to work with all. And I would want the community to know that I think we're blessed to have a group of people that are this dedicated to the effort.
Thank you, Dr. Burns. I think all of us would echo your sentiments, because I think we find ourselves among a group of highly qualified individuals attempting to do our best as volunteers to guide what I believe is truly Chattanooga's hospital. And I'm especially appreciative of the expertise that you and Dr. Bolton bring to the committee, to the trustees as medical professionals. So thank you. Thank all of the trustees, and thank you too. In particular, other comments that trustees may want to share at this point.
Madam Chairman?
Yes.
I feel like I have, I'm the old kid and the new kid, except maybe for Dr. Burns.
We agree it's the old kid, right, Dr. Burns?
Yeah, I got to see it on the inside for a total of 16 years, and then I've been on the outside for 23. But so I had my own kind of biases as I walked in as a new board member, but I have to say I've been very pleased, very happy with the openness, the responsiveness, the quality of the team. They answer my questions. They, accept my suggestions. And so I think when I look at a lot of the systems that are in place, we have with Dr. Jackson and the management team a good foundation to move forward.
Thank you.
Madam Chairman, this is Vicki Gregg, and I don't know, Ken, you may have me, but I go back to 1972, so 48 years with Erlanger.
I think that may Dr. Burns.
Yeah, it does. I remember when he joined the hospital, actually. But I have worked I've worked for, with, or had a substantial business relationship with every single CEO of Erlanger in those years. So I have a perspective on the challenges that have been faced by Erlanger Hospital over the years. And I have to say that Dr. Jackson has stepped into a situation that is by far the most difficult of any of the CEOs, at least in my memory, over time. And he has done it with grace and dedication, and I think, as Dr. Bolton said, with an unwavering commitment to patient quality, safety, and the overall best interest of the institution. And I just commend and respect the work that he does, and I'm so appreciative of his willingness to step up to these challenges. And as a board member, it is a real pleasure to work with the other members of this board and to see their unwavering commitment and dedication to support both Dr. Jackson and the management team, and to also provide the governance and oversight necessary for any organization.
Thank you, Vicki.
I just have to point out, Madam Chairman, that Vicki has always been able to say things better than I can.
Then most all of us, me especially, can. Any other comments?
This is Steve Engel. You know, I certainly appreciate the dedication of all of the people at Erlanger and the leadership from Dr. Jackson and the team. And I would move that we adopt the letter as amended by Mr. Germ.
Thank you very much, Dr. Engel. We have a motion on the floor to approve the letter with the proposed revisions tonight, and authorizing then that I can finalize it, and then each of you would sign that letter electronically, or however we choose is the most appropriate way to do that legally. Do I have a second to that motion?
This is Dr. Bolton. I'll second that.
Thank you, Dr. Bolton. Is there anyone among the trustees who are in opposition to the motion now on the floor? Hearing none, thank you, trustees, for authorizing us as a group to step forward in support of Dr. Jackson, the management team, the physicians, and everyone associated with Erlanger Hospital. And may I yet once again applaud you for your leadership. Thank you. Now, on to maybe a more, well, I don't know, Britt? Debt obligation. I'm sorry, that sounds like a downer, but.
Oh, no, it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Oh, yay. I always love it when our CFO has wonderful financial news for us, or at least neutral news for us.
Yeah,
Thank you.
This is just no problem at all, Madam Chairman. This is a state of Tennessee requirement that we have to file with them a report on the debt obligation of any new debt. This goes back to the line of credit that the board approved earlier in the year, the $50 million with First Horizon Bank. So this is just a formalization. We have to put this report on file within 45 days of the executed and approved line of credit by the board. So this is pure formality to getting on. And just as a reminder to the board, we at this point have not drawn on the line of credit, nor do we project that we will be drawing on the credit by the end of the fiscal year.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tabor. Any questions for Mr. Tabor from trustees?
Madam Chairman, I have a question. How are we going to handle the debt for this COVID grants or potential grants that could end up being loans? We've received some of that money. So, Britt, how are we handling that?
Mr. Durham, you're correct that we received about $94 million of Medicare advance money that is required to be paid back within a year. We have put that aside, and we have at this point not drawn on that money, nor do we plan to draw on that by June 30.
So we don't have to report that to the state?
No, sir. Just the actual formal loan that we took on the line of credit.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for Mr. Tabor? Well, thank you very much, and I want to publicly thank you and Mr. Woodard both, because I know how diligently you've been working together trying to secure every possible source of funding for us during this unprecedented time, and the board is very appreciative of your long hours and hard work. So thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Bolton, next item on the agenda, Chief of Staff report.
So just quickly, two things. The pandemic sort of put a lot of the projects we're working on hold, but two things that the medical staff is working on is improving our quality improvement process committee. So we're going back on that, selecting a committee, and at some point this will come back when it's finalized for the MEC for a vote and then back up to the board. But we're starting to get going on that again. And we had planned a medical staff survey that was going to be done early April. That was postponed. That's been rescheduled to be done last week of June, first couple weeks of July. And we're still working on getting that finalized. And that's really all I have. Any questions about that? Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bolton. Next item on the agenda, management reports, Dr. Shack, the UTC OMC report. Dr. Shack, I think you may still be muted.
There he goes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I'm like Dr. Burns. I don't know how to work this damn computer, but anyway, I apologize. But anyway, no, there's this, as I said, or you didn't hear it, but what I was saying is this is a very busy time for academic centers around the country as we go through graduations and the installment of new students and new residents into our many programs. Graduation for the UT College of Medicine students is tomorrow. On Friday. It'll be a virtual graduation, and I think I had Kitty forward to all the board members the Zoom information about that for any of you who may want to witness that. The students their names will be called out. There'll be a picture of them. They won't walk across the stage, but they'll show their diploma, and so it's a great time for them. And we'll have to do something later to make up for this loss, but for now, all of y'all are invited. You should have gotten that contact information or that Zoom information from Kitty yesterday or day before yesterday. Also tomorrow is our Quality Improvement Day. We have 11 different presentations from the departments of, pediatrics, plastic surgery, general surgery, and urology. The residents that are presenting these will be judged by a very august group of judges. And at the end of the day, an award ceremony will take place, and there will be monies distributed to the 3 top winners. So it's going to be a great day tomorrow, a busy day tomorrow. So then after that, as you all know, we have a group of medical students who have been furloughed basically for the last 3 months, who will be returning to our campuses, both here in Chattanooga, as well as up in Memphis and across the state at Knoxville. But we will, we're going to have 43 medical students or students join us next Monday on June 1st. 24 of those students are third-year students that'll be doing their basic clerkships here. 13 of them are fourth-year medical students who'll be doing special electives, and 6 are PA students from the UT program, UT-HSC program. So it's a big deal, and that happens next week. You'll see these bright young faces around, so please greet them and smile at them. We also have, starting July 1, 57 new interns or residents or fellows joining our programs here in Chattanooga. Huge number. They will actually show up on campus around June 18th to go through their orientation sessions. But we'll begin work in the clinical arena on July the 1st. 57 new residents and fellows. So that's in addition to the 300 plus we already have. So we're very excited about this. And these are all excellent young men and women that come from mostly from Tennessee and around the Southeast, but from across the country. So we're excited to have them join us. Please welcome them when they get here. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions for Dr. Shack? Thank you, Dr. Shack, for all you're doing to try and some sense of normalcy for these students, these residents who have worked so very, very hard, and the conditions are such that we cannot celebrate them in the ways that we've been able to in the past. Thank you for trying to bridge that gap. We appreciate the efforts that you're putting forth.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. We're doing the best we can, and the kids are resilient. They are, you know.
They are indeed.
They really are.
Dr. Jackson, President and CEO report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do want to start just by expressing my gratitude for the kind words that have been said this evening. Again, it's very gratifying to me professionally, I think to my colleagues on the leadership team and across the enterprise, frankly. I do, again, want to thank individual members of the Board of Trustees, certainly the Auxiliary Board. I want to thank Laura Bible for her kind comments in the letter tonight, medical staff officers who, again, are close colleagues, who, again, I just really appreciate and enjoy working with Dr. Bolton, Dr. Poole, Dr. Young, Dr. Sizemore, who, like the board, just worked tireless, countless, and unheralded hours for the betterment of this hospital. And again, the entire, frankly, the community is in their debt for their leadership and what they do. And I want to thank the associates, in addition to all the other people I've already mentioned, who have reached out to me, reached out to other members of our executive team this past week. It has been, again, refreshing to know that there oftentimes is a silent majority that is willing to work on behalf of this community without getting all the accolades that you might otherwise see in different environments, and I'm very appreciative of it. All that said, I do want to particularly state Erlanger's success is about a team. Any of you who followed college football, even though it's not in the South, know Bo Schembechler, the coach of Michigan, who famously said it's about the team, the team, the team. And while I'm very proud of our leadership, it does take leaders. Our leadership has courage. They work tirelessly. They work steadfastly, and I'm very proud of each one of them. The simple fact is this is a team sport. And I want to express my appreciation for our exceptional staff, our physicians, our associates that work across our health system. And this collective team working together as one yields the positive results we see, both for our patients and for the overall health of our organization. Just one example I want to give. This came across my desk literally today. This came from Erlanger East under the leadership of Martha Weeks, our CEO out there. And this was just a patient's letter that came through. It's probably one of the most remarkable letters that I have seen in my career. But I'm just going to give some excerpts, excuse me. And what it speaks to is it's a letter from a mother to our CEO out there, again, Martha Weeks, speaking about her son's care. And he'd been at Erlanger East several times in the past several months, and took the time to write a letter in the era of COVID, when she can't visit, just to say some nice comments about one of our great nurses out there, Jenny. Jenny was one of his favorite nurses because she treated him like her own son. No matter how busy the shift got, she was always there, going above and beyond and making him feel like everything was going to be okay. Jenny then, again, would text the mother. Mother, I cried when I got her text. She was not only taking care of my son, but also me. I had to share how my son's life was impacted by one nurse's actions and how much of a difference it made. I am thankful and blessed by Jenny. This is what we get over the course of many days for a lot of our associates. And again, I'm proud to be part of this team, and frankly, to be leading it just because of associates like Jenny and leaders like Martha Weeks. Couple updates, Madam Chair. First off, on coronavirus, again, as I think the board knows and the community knows, we have been extremely fortunate in our region that COVID-19 has not been prevalent. Admittedly, we've seen over the course of the past few days that there has been an uptick across the region, and it's no different with us. We do have to remain in a state of readiness for COVID-19, and we're doing so. We have reopened. I want the public to know, as we have said, we are open, but we are safe. Okay. Patients come to visit us. They can rest assured that we're going to take all the precautions to make sure that they're kept safe when they're in an Erlanger facility or clinic or operating room. We're continuing to screen our visitors. We're requiring our staff and visitors to wear a mask and practice social distancing. We're putting everything that we can in place to make sure that we're maintaining a safe environment. We do recognize, as others in our industry do, that the public may have concerns about coming to a hospital. We want to ensure the residents in our community know that we have implemented safe practices, and I want to emphasize we're continuing to provide exceptional essential care in a very safe manner. We do encourage people to seek out care they need today because, as we've seen, delaying care may sometimes lead to a more serious condition. And I want to specifically comment on safe care being provided in our urgent care facilities and our emergency departments. Since we have reopened on May 1st, we are experiencing an uptick in elective surgeries, physician office visits, admissions, and emergency department visits. And I think this is encouraging because it speaks to the essential and important care that we provide to our community. I'm very proud to be part of this team, and I know that Erlanger is essential not only to Chattanooga and the surrounding region. And I do want the board and the public to know that while we lack perfect visibility, we're going to face much more uncertainty. I'm confident we're prepared and we're continuing to respond to the challenges before us. I'd also be remiss if I didn't thank again Dr. Sizemore, Dr. Buchheit, Robbie Tester, Renee Grayson, John Daub. Those are just a few of the people that have been working essentially on a 24/7 basis around this time to make sure that our community is safe, that our associates are kept safe, and that we're doing right by the community in this unprecedented time. So again, a debt of gratitude to them. And then secondly, again, I want to speak to Cyber Believe Bash. I think most of the board members saw my communication out to our team earlier today. It was a huge success. Throughout the week, we had people engaged, participating in planned events. Something was truly innovative. And while next year I'm hoping we're in person for another Believe Bash, I think the way the team responded and rose to the occasion is really fantastic. As many of you know, we netted in excess of $275,000, and those funds are going to support our COVID-19 expenses. So again, I want to thank Linda Minks-Hood, the board foundation chair, Julie Taylor, Stephen Wagner, Nicole Kennedy, that entire team, which again has worked really in an unprecedented way and tirelessly just so we can continue our mission of taking care of patients during this pandemic. Madam Chair, that's my report.
Thank you, Dr. Jackson. And the board joins you in thanking those that were responsible for the Cyber Believe Bash and what it's able to add to our ability to continue serving the community. Anyone have any question for Dr. Jackson? If not, are there any additional reports from trustees or officers that need to be brought before this board? Hearing none, I will call your attention to item number 12 on your agenda, which is an announcement of the upcoming meetings. You'll notice that they are by Zoom as we continue to practice our own safety. There being no further business, Mr. Woodard, may I ask you to please read the guidelines for us to go into closed session, and following that, Mrs. Quinn will do a roll call vote for approval. Sir?
Yes, Madam Chair. The board is a quality improvement committee as defined by TCA section 68-11-272. Therefore, the records, actions, and materials discussed in closed session meeting are protected by the Tennessee Patient Safety and Quality Improvement Act of 2011 and Healthcare Quality Improvement Act as set forth in 42 U.S.C. section 11101 et sec.
Mrs. Quinn, will you please do a roll call vote to go into closed session?
I sure will.
Thank you.
Mrs. Mines?
Yes.
Mrs. Boynton?
Yes.
Mr. Webb? Mr. Webb? Okay. Dr. Angle?
Yes.
Dr. Bolton?
Yes.
Dr. Burns?
Yes.
Mr. Coleman?
Yes.
Mr. Connor?
Yes.
Mr. Germ?
Yes.
Mrs. Gregg?
Yes.
Mr. Sattler?
Yes.
All right. And I see Judge Webb on there.
Yeah, I was on mute. I was on mute, but yes.
I figured. All right.
And I believe Mr. Woodard will share with us how we will act from this moment on.
I think Sheila was going to set up a breakout room.
Yes, but I need probably somebody to make sure I get all the right people in that room.
Okay.
The board I know, but we need a few others, right?
I think it's the
Yeah.
medical staff officers.
Yeah. So
And-
Jeff, I'll do you
Sheila-
last. I'll do you
Sheila,
last.
will it work if I'm on the phone?
I think I can do that. You're the 718 number, right?
Right.
Okay, let's try it out. We love technology.
Yes, we do.
All right. So I can take Vicky, Dr. Bolton, Dr. Young, correct?
Yes.
Gerald, Greg, is Greg going in there? No.
No.
Okay.
Dr. Poole as well.
Okay.
And Dr.
I
Sizemore.
got Dr. Jackson, Mr. Sattler. Is Jay Sizemore going? No?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. Jim Coleman, you, Jeffrey, Connor. Okay, John's iPad is John Jern. Linda. Let's see, Dr. Poole.
Yes.
And Dr. Engel. And is there anybody else?
Dr. Jackson, did you get Dr. Jackson?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's the Jack's Owl or whatever. All right.
I'm seeing a Kendall. I don't know who Kendall and I know Dr. Adams. Dr. Adams should not be on.
Kitty's not going, right? So.
No,
and
I'm
Greg,
not going.
And Greg's not going. Okay. All right. Are we ready? It's kind of like.
Sheila's showing up. Dr. Adams is on. Okay. You got it.
Okay.
No, you got it.
No, he's not.
Okay. He was still showing up on my screen. I'm sorry.
Okay. No, I hadn't hit it yet.
Sheila, do we have to join again?
Mr. Jerm, yes, you will have to do that.
How do we do that?
It asks you a question. Do you see it on your screen? It says the meeting room and you'll join the room. Do you see it on there?
I don't see it on my screen, Kitty.
I wonder if she clicked you.
She didn't mention me.
She didn't mention you, so she may have forgot to click you to put you in there. Let me text her real quick and make sure she clicked you, because you should get a message that tells you to join.
I'm just looking at myself here, so
Okay,
I'm gonna
hold on
leave
one
it as
second.
it is. Yeah.
Because you're showing up in the main meeting with me and Greg, so let me let her know you're not in. She'll probably figure it out pretty quick, but let me let her know. Let me go. Let me run in and tell Dr. Jackson to tell her as well. Hey, Dr. Burns. All right.